The one good thing that has came out the terrible recasting of Geralt is me going back to The Witcher 3 and finally playing the DLC after 9 years, and deciding to play the games from the start has made me realise there is a lot of Witcher, making it feel like a whole lifestyle's worth. The simple story of a white-haired guy who hunts monsters for a living, 9-ish books, 3-ish games, 2-ish series and 3 animated movies, and some things you've never heard of. Saying The Witcher is just a white-haired guy hunting monsters is like saying Nintendo is just for kids.
I'm sorry.
Even though a lot of us jumped on the wagon way later with The Witcher 3,
Finally awake.
with the series going from selling 2 million copies with Witcher 2 to 60 million copies with Witcher 3. Also, the books were a thing. And since then we have seen a lot of stuff, some may say a lifestyle of stuff, and possibly one of the worst recastings in TV history. We have all lived through this, and it has changed our lives and therefore has created a lifestyle. So let's mumble about it. And on this mumble we dive into the Witcher franchise and how it consumed near everyone's life, how I became a Witcher, how the story of The Witcher has evolved through the franchise history, as we look at everything Witcher, some may say a lifestyle worth, and the original Witcher series that most people don't know about. And we're starting with a subscribe and a walk. Witcher 3, look at this world, look at the lovely little town, it's beautiful. Oh my god, I'm not ready for this. Run, run, Roach, Roach! Okay, great, we're back. Okay, let's play some Gwent, this poor little blacksmith. Ha! Time for another walk to see how beautiful this world is. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is me basically going back to The Witcher, and already the world felt weirdly alive from just kind of wandering around, from getting jumped by a gang, running into some random monsters and playing Gwent, and just buying some shopping. It's not usually have that feeling of this when you play a game now. It doesn't feel like the world is a living thing. I don't think some of the best open world games even have this feeling to it. Cough, cough, Zelda. We all remember this world, right, Rare? We found the Wild Hunt. I still can't believe they went with that name, as Wild Hunt sounds very much like wild. Subscribe to the Mumble Gamer for comedy just like this. It's the world we all came to love. Look at it, look at this game, look what I had to play. Stop you, yeah you, stop watching TikTok and look at this game. It's actually kind of good. Going back to Witcher 1 is like opening an old picture album of the past.
Still trouble ahead.
When you look at a game franchise from its beginning of creation, it's weird how much it has changed. It happens with a lot of games as well. Kingdom Hearts, God of War, both have them, but still they have their foundation. It feels like Witcher 1 had a completely different foundation, like it tried to make a gorgeous, delicious meal, and it ends up going slightly wrong. It does feel like old school RPGs kind of feeling to it, with that old Republic type gameplay, but as well it has this kind of weird, well isn't that weird now because games use this, that changing of fighting style. I think Neo 2 and Ghost of Tsushima are good examples of that changing fighting style. Even though for the time of when this game released, this kind of gameplay was slightly outdated. Or it's just me and not having a dodge button gives me anxiety. After all this though, after all this mixed flavours everywhere, it kinda is fun. But what about the life of the Witcher in Witcher 1? Well, it's pretty weird. There's still stuff to do, like weirdly addictive card dice type game. Well, I didn't take time to learn, but still kind of wanted to play more. Can we just take a moment though to say that CD Projekt Red are weirdly good at making betting games? If they ever turn to the dark side, we'd be in trouble. Though the world feels much less alive, it feels kind of dormant. Even the colour scheme of greys and caves and swamps for days on end. It's a boring life. It's a grim life. There is no fun in this world. This is like a plagued world. I don't want to go for a walk in this world here. I want to hide for the rest of my life. The Witcher 1 is kind of weird though. It's difficult to kind of get your bearings of it. I still don't know what it is, as I do play games around this period of releases. So maybe it's just something missing there. I kind of love at this point, I'm going to go on a mumble for a minute, their timestamps below. We're starting to get these what were like old school RPGs, like Old Republic is maybe the most famous one, like the real time pause gameplay type things. What was obviously in that era, transitioning from keyboard to controller, didn't really fit the strategy, and it's obviously turned into more dodge roll and God of War and Dark Souls type deal now. Instead of making these games, they're going back and looking how how good these games were. Even though the gameplay was still good, it's not really that good because it obviously doesn't, everyone doesn't like this kind of gameplay. I kind of like it, but even I'm a bit cautious of it. But still, they're making these remakes in the modern format, what is quite interesting. Even though I do think most of them end up in development hell, the developer of the Witcher franchise would never end up in development hell though. You know what, I just realized this remake of the first game will be like Witcher 3, but taking everything from Witcher 1 and making it in kind of Witcher 3. Not just like a God of War, Dark Souls kind of feeling of a game. Okay, I'm excited for that now. That's put me in a good mood. I'm excited for that. Let's continue. Witcher 2 is kind of the middle child of the whole Witcher trilogy. Playing this game is very weird. It feels outdated more than Witcher 1. It feels like a rushed piece of work like we get today in most games. In the year of Dark Souls, the second game in the Arkham series, thinking of it, it does feel a bit like Dark Souls 2. Maybe it was just a sequel problem. Anyway, Skyrim, the Thor movie, Portal 2, even Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, The Witcher 2 stands out as one of the worst ones. The story is the only standout that Witcher 3 has going for it. If this game was released now as the second game in the series, I don't think we'd even see Witcher 3 4 years after. It's rough, it makes me feel ill, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. After exploring the game worlds, there's definitely a lot you can do with your day. Even though side quests can seep into your mind so much that you can forget the wild hunt even exists. You can go find a frying pan, you can join a fight club, you can spend the whole day in moonlight healing your wounds. Then the next day you can go on a horse riding across the world, spend a day in the markets, and then to tie the week together, you could play some card games. A card game so complex and kind of addicting it still haunts my life, and has become a lifestyle in its own right. I'm obviously talking about Gwent. Even though yes, I would die on a hill and say the original game and Witcher 1 was perfect, and it did not need to be changed for the more competitive, stupid online gamers. I kind of miss the old strict way of playing this game where you have to put the cards into certain places and where are the siege stuff. Then we go to Thronebreaker, what kind of switches this all on its head, a whole indie game feel but with a good budget type feeling, taking a place in the Witcher universe from a completely different character. Good story with full in-depth characters set, I'm pretty sure, before the Witcher series. I'm not going to lie, I completely forgot about this game. I was always meaning to play it but never really have. It felt like more like it was going to be like a Banner Saga type game, and I bought that and never really played that either. As I have Banner Saga at home, I never played this one, but after playing it, it surprised me a lot. If I found this game out in the wild, it would be truly something. The story and the writing of this game felt very unique and exciting. I would say that this game could even be a good introduction into the world of Witcher, with much of the story being told like a book would be. I wouldn't mind coming across more games like this in the future. The universe is so big and expansive, some things just feel that they can fall through the cracks, and I think this is something you really need to play. Even me, kind of leaving the Witcher games behind me for so many years, feel like I could play this game for a long time. Even with my new disdain for the Gwent game, especially the mobile version, this game has me so intrigued for the story alone. And also I bought it now, so I might as well. However, I've gone back to both of these variations of the games and I kind of realised something. It's not that good. I remember diving hours into this in Witcher 3. I think playing Gwent nearly doubled my playthrough time. Now I've played both versions and kind of a third with Thronebreaker. This might hurt some people. Close your eyes if you still play this game religiously because it might ruin it for you. It just feels like a glorified game of chicken. The whole game kind of focuses way too much on that pass button and it's slightly underwhelming. I don't know, it just feels like looking back at this game, it feels like there is a good card game there, but it feels like there is like an extra step forward. What we hopefully might see in Witcher 4. It was kind of sad going back as well, as I thought I loved this card game, but now it feels a bit, okay, is that it? Maybe Marvel Snap has ruined this game for me and I think I need a new card game to play now. Any ideas? Comment below, I suppose. Okay, we've talked about the games and the spin-off games and we've kind of gone into different detail and we racked up about 250 hours of content you can play right now. But that's only about 25 days and we're talking about a lifestyle worth of stuff here. So we need more, and there is a lot more, some good and some questionable. So what do you want to start with, the good, the bad, or the Witcher series? For me, the Witcher series, it came out of a weird time for me in a weird Witcher fandom kind of place. I hadn't read all the books. I had played Witcher 3 and 1, but a long time ago, and played probably too much Gwent, meaning that when this series hit, I was kind of in a confusing place with my Witcher fandom. And then on the other side, Witcher 3 had been restarted in my house with Mrs. Mumble starting her journey. So even though I have expanded my Witcher mind, Witcher 3 was very fresh in my mind, and the jump to season 1 on Netflix Witcher took me a couple of episodes to kind of get into the series. But when you get into it, it kind of feels like you've watched it for years. To many, this live-action Witcher Netflix series pushed the Witcher kind of franchise to new heights. These weren't below Witcher game numbers. These weren't gaming numbers. These were series watching numbers. This is book made live action. It took the world by storm. It changed people's kind of lives, I suppose, lifestyles, going from young people playing the games to old people watching an episode every week. Season 1 of The Witcher made the good idea of adapting straight from the books what was popular. It gave fresh lore to people who just played the games. It gives us something new to consume, and then you can go back to the books to read it as well. Sadly though, the filthy casual, me included, were confused by the short storytellings through this series that led to the massive changes of season 2 of The Witcher. The tone alone felt weird, like they were trying too hard to change what they already created. For me now though, who has kind of read a lot of the books and who enjoyed it until they kind of stopped being short stories when I was reading them, the massive change and pace in season 2 came even worse. The third and last season though, there is technically no season 4, felt slightly better, but still it felt weirdly forced, like they were rushing stories but also failing to have conclusions to some of them at the same time. Like they showed their hand too early in round 2 and then played their series card way too early. If this was a lifestyle or a creative title, this would be the time that they've bought a new car for Netflix, they've got their ears pierced, they've quit their job and now got a postman job. So after going into the midlife crisis version, as we're kind of still in this kind of midlife crisis of The Witcher, and I hope they kind of get past it with The Witcher 4, we have to go backwards to the original Witchers and kind of the later Witchers in the comics. But yeah, talking about which you might know, there is a couple of books. It might not surprise many that I'm not a big book person. I like to read. I've read most of the Witcher books, about 3 of them. The first one was the short stories, and I think it was my favourite, and then I read the first and second proper novel. The reason for this is because I didn't really know there was a second collection of short stories, even though I do think this has kind of ruined my reading experience, especially when I personally think the short stories approach worked a lot better. As soon as it turned to full-blown stories, it kind of got boring for me, kind of like the series.
It's a bit of an anticlimax.
Okay, I'm just going to say it feels weird talking about books on here, but I'm still going to go into a bit of depth, but it still feels a bit weird and different. The books though are the true take on the lifestyle of The Witcher and the characters around it. You see characters grow in ways you can't see in any other medium. You see Ciri's relationship with Yen grow and actually be good and interesting. You see how Geralt makes these weird friends, as he always seems to know everyone through the books. You don't through even the games or the TV show, but the books, you see these relationships grow and you kind of see how he makes them and how he kind of makes friends and enemies wherever he goes. The awkwardness, the humour and the darkness is all in these books, what kind of fails to hit anywhere else. It's such a good way of showing like a real life folklore kind of world, and just made me realise I need to carry on reading the books. Yeah. After reading though, you can see what a beast of a read this series was, and more people need to read and finish this series. And after 9 books, this is a whole lifestyle of itself. There is a lot to read and it's exciting. The comics on the other hand I have consumed are slightly hit or miss. Some can take on a fairy tale through folklore and see the Witcher go against wolves and creatures of sorts. And some can kind of take too much inspiration from the games and can be bogged down by it. Although it's a lot to consume, I think after watching this series and probably most likely the most disappointing ending, I would go back to these. Go back to the books, go back to the comics. There is so much lore here, so much witchering, and generally a better story. Also, there's a new book set in the early years of Geralt what I kind of need to read, but that's a new thing and I don't think it's even been translated into English from the Polish. It has now, I'll link it below. Okay, let's get a little bit weird now. Let's go off the beaten track. Let's take that wagon off road and talk about the weird other things, the spin-offs in the Witcher series, from the pretty good to the things what ruined Christmas. with The Witcher Blood Origin. Okay, before we go into the Krampus of the TV show Blood Origins, I watched this crap on Christmas. I've dived right into all of the Witcher things, we've near completed everything. I think I've found most mainline stuff in the Witcher franchise without spending money because so we saw my subscriber count, and this thing might be the worst thing in the whole Witcher lifestyle. This series, is 4-part series, made me kind of weirdly hate Witcher for a while. It made me kind of stop reading the books. It became to me the poison of the Witcher fandom. What was the creation of the first Witcher? I don't want to see on a good day, but this wasn't a good day. This was the worst day. I went to take all the potions and go toxic because this is trash. There's nothing here. Ragtag group band together, go after an evil empire. Then you'll never guess who's going to die, the Witcher or other people, everyone probably, because that's how this ragtag kind of ends. Oh, it's horrible. You know what I said? The Thronebreaker kind of spin-off game made me want to go into more of The Witcher and surprise me. This 4-episode special makes me want to burn the whole franchise to the ground and never look at it again. Okay, I'm done with that. If I go more into that, I'm going to throw up or get full-on toxified. Then we have 2 actually kind of good cartoon spin-offs, starting with The Witcher Sirens of the Deep. Sirens of the Deep is what I want from like a future Witcher series. I want a cartoon with Doug Cockles as the voice and just retell the stories of the books through an animated series, but also take some time to tell some original stories of monster hunting and some shorter elements of the book, taking inspiration from the smaller moments and expanding them into new levels. The Sirens of the Deep should be a kind of blueprint of the new Witcher series, much lower budget, and could be kind of a starting point for The Witcher 4. And you know, when Witcher 4 comes out or this series comes out, either one would blow up. I don't want budget MCU, as the MCU even feels like budget MCU now. For example, don't give the CGI baby to the CGI monster when you can just give the real baby to a real person. Why do that? Why add that budget to your CGI? Come on. It might not be for everyone, but it gives me like DC animated movie vibes, and you know most of them could easily be made into a full-blown cartoon series. Just give me that Flash cartoon. Sorry, that's something different. That's not Witcher. Anyway, when I look at this kind of weird Netflix era of The Witcher, the animated movie that kind of most established itself to me as some of the best work through this kind of era. Then there is the first cartoon spin-off, what I do have more mixed feelings about. I'm going to spoil stuff here, but it's quite old, and if you haven't watched it, it's your own fault. Okay, the spoilers of the origins of some characters, one of them being Geralt as a youngling and being the only kind of surviving witches of the generations. There's a couple more. After the destruction of what made them witches, kind of explain the origin of their dwindling numbers, and also we saw the biggest badass in the franchise, Vasimir. We saw Vasimir as a true young cocky witcher. This alone is kind of one of my favourite things. I'd watch a whole series of young Vasimir teaching the young Geralt and other witches, becoming what they were later on. It was very interesting way of experiencing the story and the right way to do it. I would kind of love to see more Witcher stories told this way, like maybe we could see Lambert on a hunt, even maybe some other Witcher schools, as they've been hinted at so much in the games, but we never really saw them, and maybe they're hinted in the books as well. I think there are more in the books. I don't think we ever get that much detail, but imagine like a whole 90-minute, 60-minute animated film on that. I am kind of hoping that Witcher 4 does expand that, because I think the charm in the Witcher 4 trailer is different from the amulet thing in the original Witcher. But it does seem the cartoon way would be maybe the safe way to go. As I said, if they're going to do any more stuff for The Witcher after what probably will be one of the worst seasons of The Witcher coming soon, maybe before this video, or hopefully after, wherever I plan this, I want a cartoon version of The Witcher. They're doing it with Tomb Raider and Splinter Cell, whatever it's called, I can't remember, I haven't played that game much. Maybe 2 of the worst series to do it with, as it doesn't really sound like a fun cartoon. It sounds funner if it was a live action in comparison to Witcher. It would be better if it was a cartoon. What was I going with this? Think of it as a medieval Devil May Cry type cartoon. I think The Witcher could kind of end like that. Ooh, that's a video idea. Devil May Cry lifestyle. Gotta write that down. Before we end this lifestyle video of The Witcher, we need to talk about the unknown elements. starting with the unknown Witcher series. One of them being the fact that the whole Witcher series started in a magazine in 1990, with it being a foundation for the original short stories collection in 1993. Even something weirder though, this Netflix thing wasn't the first live action of The Witcher. The original was called The Hexer. Okay, I couldn't really find any of the full episodes of this, as I would have definitely watched them, as it does actually look quite good, even low budget, quite good. But weirdly, the only thing I did find was these weird comparisons between the old show and the new show. And looking at them both, it definitely feels like Netflix found this and just went, okay, we're going to copy that. Oh, I like that. We're going basically shot for shot on some scenes. So not only did they kind of ruin the Witcher series for me over the time, they copied some of their best work from a series what is nearly 20 years old. Okay, I'm going into the Witcher season 4 with some hate. Then we have the orchestra, maybe the gold standard of video game soundtracks in an orchestra would be great, and I read recently that they're even including the Witcher 4 song from the trailer, so it's definitely on the bucket list to see that. But with that, there is some merch. I have a little pendant thing what goes in wine or something, I can't remember what it is, but I couldn't find it for this video. And also I realized I need a pendant of my own, like a Netflix pendant, because that'd be pretty cool to have. So if I missed anything, comment below what you have or haven't watched or what I haven't played. Maybe I missed an old game before it even was a game, Witcher 1, I don't know. Comment below your thoughts, like and subscribe for future mumbles, and I will see you on the next mumble.